Hey there, Contractor Kev here with Overseas Contractor Academy, and today we're going to be talking about living and working in Erbil in northern Iraq. Depending on how you want to phrase it, it could also be working in Erbil in Kurdistan. Because as they say, Kurdistan is the biggest country you will never find on the map. It's divided up over 4 different countries: Iraq, Turkey, Iran, and Syria. So anyways, there's a large operation going on right now in Erbil, working with the Kurds, and so there are a lot of jobs there. I have personally worked in Erbil, so that's what we're going to cover today. Stay tuned. Okay, so working in Erbil. First off, obviously there is a lot of attention and a lot of money being spent to fight ISIS right now, to fight the whole, the uprising and the caliphate and all this whatever crazy nonsense they're trying to pull. So we're trying to help the Kurds directly as well as greater Iraq, but we are kind of helping them separately because the Kurdish region does have full autonomy, supposedly. So they are being treated almost separately from the Baghdad government, and so we do have an operation going on in the north, just within Erbil, within Kurdistan itself, to help them fight off the ISIS threat. So there's several large contractors that have big defense contracts to help out the American efforts, which is logistical as well as air superiority and those kinds of intel type things going on up in the north to help the Kurds with their fight against ISIS. And so there are a lot of jobs right now working in and around Erbil. The big question, should you be offered any of those jobs, is will you be on base or off? Because there's really only one base up there. And if you are stuck on base, you are stuck on base. And so it's going to be one of those living conditions where you're going to be in a tent, you're not going to do anything besides coming and going from work on foot. You're probably going to live within a few blocks of wherever it is you work. So the big question will be, if you get offered a job in Erbil, will you be on base or off base? And this is going to make a big difference in your lifestyle and your living conditions, and whether or not you have any kind of freedoms at all. Because if you're on base, you'll likely be confined to the base. And so you'll live in a tent that will be within a few blocks of where you work in a different tent. And that's just going to be life. That's going to be the way it goes there. But as always, the trade-off is going to be a tax-free $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 a month. And that tends to make up for a lot of hardship there. Now, if you're off base, you could be put up in a villa. You could be in some kind of apartment building. There's a couple different options I've seen. The company I worked for, we stayed in a villa in a guarded community known as English Village. And so we had a couple of villas side by side where everyone had office space and workspace downstairs, and they lived upstairs in bedrooms and bathrooms at the top of the steps. So we rented large luxury villas, lived upstairs, worked downstairs, and then went out to the work sites where the actual work was going on, using the company vehicles every day. The big benefit of living and working off base as opposed to on base is, generally speaking, you are not going to fall under general order number 1, which is no alcohol, no sex. So in the Christian quarter of Erbil, also known as Ankawa, in Ankawa, they have kind of suspended the Muslim rules of drinking. The Kurdish are a very pluralistic society. There's Christian Kurds, there's Muslim Kurds, there's Coptic Kurds. There's a lot of different religions within the Kurdish nation. And so because of that, they allow for the Christians to have their alcohol. So what that means to you as a contractor is you can actually go buy alcohol and keep it in your room. That is an unusual feature in the Middle East. There are only a few places that are going to allow you to do that. So if you are off base and you have freedom of movement, you generally are going to be allowed to go up and buy alcohol in Ankawa in the evenings You can buy cases of beer, you can buy wine, they have any kind of spirits you could want. You can buy that and keep it stored in your room. You'll have a little mini fridge, so it is kind of nice. At the end of a long work day, you'll be able to pop open a cold beer. In addition to being very pluralistic, the thing to understand about the Kurds is that they are very pro-American, as most of the world should be. Pro-American in that we gave them their autonomy from Saddam Hussein. And for that reason, unlike the Kuwaitis, who still tend to be kind of anti-American, even though we drove Saddam out of their country, the Kurds are very, very grateful to the American forces that are there. And of course, they are now grateful for us helping them again with the ISIS threat. So it is not unusual to have Kurds approach you if you are off base and just thank you for being there, and thank you for helping liberate them from Saddam, helping liberate them from the ISIS threat. And the Kurds are very, very pro-American for the most part. So it is not unusual to have guys buy you drinks, guys offer you food. They are very cool people, and it's definitely a good place to work for that reason. Now, one of the cool things about working in Erbil is that it is much safer than pretty much the entire rest of the country of Iraq. But the way the pay is set up is a big component of it is danger pay and hardship pay. And that is set by country, not by region. And so the Iraq country, the danger pay and hardship pay is set at the maximum because it's a dangerous, hard place to work. However, up in Erbil, you got a little bit of an oasis of very pro-American, pro-Western people, and you get all the benefits of the danger and the hardship pay without necessarily all the danger and the hardship. So it is a very cool place to work for that reason. If you can get a job in Erbil, I definitely recommend it. Very cool place to work, and you get all the normal uplifts. So you're going to really maximize your pay while not kind of living in the harsh living conditions that would normally be required to earn that. Okay, so that's about it for working in Kurdistan, working in Erbil. I definitely recommend it. The Kurdish people are so cool, very, very welcoming for Westerners, welcoming for Americans, and you get all the benefits of the hardship and danger pay that are maxed out, and yet you get a lot better living conditions. So if you can get a job in Erbil, I definitely recommend it. There's a lot of contractors hiring people for Erbil right now. As I said, intel people, logistics people, even just sustainment people up there on the base to build it out, because that mission is always growing. It looks to only grow bigger in the future, and so there's going to be a lot of contractor jobs coming up, even more than there are already right now in Erbil. So it's a place to look for. It's a future hotspot. Guys and gals, if you can get a job up there, I definitely recommend you take a job in Erbil, because it is really kind of the sweet spot mix between maximizing your pay and not having a whole lot of danger. So roll up your sleeves and get your ass to work up in Erbil if you can. It'll set you free. And fill up your bank account. Thanks for watching. See you next time.